In addition to prophecy, there's signs in the Old Testament of Jesus. And what's really impressive is they're not just stories about fictitious people, they're accounts of actual human beings. We're going to look at Abraham. This is over 2,000 years before Jesus is born. Abraham would be considered the patriarch of half of the world's population. The Muslims, the Jews, and the Christians all point to Abraham as their patriarch, where it really began. God established a covenant with Abraham. Now, a lot of us that know the story, we think about Abraham as being old and whatever, but it goes beyond that. This guy was amazing. He was a stud. I've said that before. All sorts of integrity, just brilliant, handsome. The guy was amazing. Well, he and his wife couldn't have children. And at some point, God said to him, I'm going to bless you. You will have a child, and you'll be the father of many nations. And he believed God. Well, we'll skip a few details because a lot of things went down, but eventually the son was born. It was Isaac. And when Isaac was a certain age, we don't know for sure, I'm guessing he was at least 13. That's where we would put him. It was time, and God said to Abraham, go sacrifice your son Isaac. So the two of them took the wood, took everything with them. They started marching up to Mount Moriah. And along the way, his son Isaac said to him, Father, we got the wood, we've got the knife, we got the fire, where's the lamb? And Abraham said to him, very prophetic, he said, God himself will provide the lamb. They walk up further, they get to the altar on Mount Moriah where this man is going to sacrifice his son. Isaac lays on the altar. Can you imagine the kind of faith and discipline that Isaac had? And Abraham is going to take a knife to his throat, and he's going to sacrifice his son for God. At that point in time, God said, stop. You did it. I found a man on earth who was willing to sacrifice his own son. Now, I, God, have the right to sacrifice my own son for mankind. That's really the message that was given. And then what happened was he said, don't sacrifice Isaac. Look over there, and in the thicket, there was a ram caught with its head in its thorns. God said, sacrifice that ram to me. So he did. Well, again, the sign here is huge. That because God found a man on earth faithful enough to be willing to sacrifice his own son, that established a covenant between mankind and God. God could continue with his plan and eventually sacrifice his own son. Now the ram caught in the thorns, if you recall, Jesus, when he was sacrificed, was wearing a crown of thorns on his head. So the ram is a type of Jesus. Its head caught in the thorns is another depiction of Christ, of the Messiah. Interestingly enough, the sacrifice that was made that day by Abraham and where Jesus was crucified were very nearly in the same region, in the region of Mount Moriah. The other thing about rams and ram's horns is the Jewish custom was to use ram's horns and make these trumpets that would sound the beginning of holidays, that would sound the beginning of war, and that sort of thing too. So I think there's even further signs and imaging there in regards to a new period of time and a promise.